Do you know this man?
I don't know.
Never seen him?
I haven't recently, no.
No? Where is it?
No idea?
Nunca ouvi antes. Não sei quem é.
He looks Belgian.
Est-ce que vous connaissez ce monsieur?
Bah oui. C'est Guy.
Yes, it's Guy,
C'est ex-premier
the former Prime Minister of Belgium. But I don't know what he does now. Something in Europe.
Quelque chose en Europe.
Ça, c'est le président, donc,
It's the president of the Liberals at the European Parliament, Guy Verhofstadt. There are many people who talk in the European Parliament. He talks and gets things
Mais
done.
lui, il parle, il fait.
Les élections européennes approchent.
In the European elections, for the first time, political groups have put forward candidates for the presidency of the European Commission. The choice will be made after the election of the new Parliament. Today we meet the candidate of the Liberal group.
À la rencontre du candidat du groupe libéral.
An MEP since 2009, Guy Verhofstadt chairs the Alliance of Liberals and Democrats for Europe. Born 11th April 1953 in Dendermonde, Belgium, he grew up in the Flanders region. While studying law at the University of Ghent, he became head of the Flemish Liberals Students' Union. A city councillor in Ghent by 23, his rapid rise continued as he became president of the Flemish Liberal Party at 29, then an MP in 1985. In the same year, he became Deputy Prime Minister and Budget Minister. But darker times followed. He lost the presidency of his party, then in opposition. He took a break in Tuscany to, as he said, reflect. Once dubbed Baby Thatcher, Verhofstadt tempered his radical liberalism and returned to lead an overhauled Liberal Party to victory in 1999, becoming Premier for 3 successive governments. During this period, he developed his passion for European politics and his European Commission ambitions. In between campaign trips, we caught up with him training in his hometown of Ghent.
The European tour is during the week and the tour of Flanders is at the weekend.
Which is harder?
The tour of Europe.
We followed this political marathon man from his home in Ghent to Brussels and the European Parliament. Since he first entered the chamber, he's fought to increase its weight in relation to that of the European Council. His staff say his seemingly tireless capacity for work sets an example.
He's brought a completely new dynamism to the Parliament. Since he arrived, he's politicised the institution much more than it ever was. But we're always running around after him and working 110% every day. There's never a dull moment.
It's as a champion of a federal Europe that Verhofstadt has made his name. He laid out his vision in his book The United States of Europe in 2006 and last year co-authored a manifesto for a federal Europe with Daniel Cohn-Bendit of the Greens. Budget, debt, taxation, energy. Verhofstadt wants deeper integration to cover all domains of government.
Il faut une Europe beaucoup plus intégrée.
We need a much more integrated Europe, and this integration will be the engine to create more jobs and economic growth for years to come. The solution is really to use more Europe to get out of the crisis.
Plus d'Europe pour sortir de la crise. Ce n'est que nos hommes politiques qui n'ont pas le courage de le faire.
It's only our politicians who don't have the courage to do it, and as a consequence people fall into disarray. They're afraid, and they believe the lies of the nationalists. That's the tragedy of Europe at the moment.
C'est ça la tragédie de l'Europe pour le moment.
C'est pas tous les jours quand même que le camarade est là.
Conversant in 5 languages, he says he feels at home everywhere in Europe. He has a particular passion for Italy, its culture and cuisine. Sardinian Maria Landis runs the kitchens of the Belgian government. It was Verhofstadt, as Prime Minister, who first hired her. Now his friend, her risotto with lobster and asparagus, is among his favourite dishes.
Lemon chicken is a specialty of his. So are chips. I think he could have been a great chef. Because he's very creative, very curious, and has good taste. That's important in cooking, but also in politics. They say he's visionary, but it takes vision to have good creativity. And he has that, perhaps sometimes a little too much.
Whether it's his support for a common socio-economic policy, a European army or Turkish membership of the EU, Verhofstadt has a habit of making waves. So what would be his first act as Commission President, a role that's already evaded him twice?
C'est surtout changer la méthode de travailler et donc utiliser.
It would be to change the working method and directly use the European Commission as a true European government which takes leadership of operations, which develops a vision and puts legislative packages on the tables of the Parliament and the Council, precisely to force the states, to force the European Council to take up its responsibilities, which is not the case at the moment. What Mr. Barroso does is to first phone Paris, then Berlin. Actually, usually it's the other way round, first Berlin, then Paris. And it's only when he has the green light from those two countries that he dares present something. But this isn't how we'll overcome the crisis.
For the Flemish Nationalist Party's lead candidate in the European elections, Verhofstadt lacks realism.
His former Dutch liberal colleague Frits Bolkestein compared Mr. Verhofstadt to somebody who is barking at the moon. That may be a little bit exaggerated, but I think the image is quite correct. Mr. Verhofstadt is focusing very much on the very long-term issues from the European Union in the very long run. People won't go for these long-term issues if they see that what is today a problem for them or what are the problems today are not resolved sufficiently.
Matthias de Klerk disagrees. He's the grandson of former European Commissioner Willy de Klerk, Verhofstadt's greatest political mentor. The Liberal candidate is now a role model himself for Matthias.
He's very straight, he's very full of passion, and he can convince everybody. Although he became older, he really stays that enthusiastic as in the beginning. He still is a bit naive, but we need that in our society, the belief to reach some goals, and that's the biggest thing I appreciate on he.
What keeps you going today, Mr. Verhofstadt?
On the bike, it's about good health, perfect physical condition, which is important for a politician. But in politics, it's above all passion, the passion to change Europe, to create another Europe, a Europe that works, not the Europe that we know now.